Hello everyone, welcome to This Week in Stupid for the 19th of July 2020. As the Romanian saying goes, the mother of idiots is always pregnant, and this week it definitely provided. We have a lot of very interesting news, so let's get right in it. Usually I start with the cancel culture, which apparently totally doesn't exist, and this week no one really got fired, but a person came close. Very close to getting fired. We are talking about a New York professor, which now has a petition against her for allegedly falling asleep during an anti-racism meeting. If anyone needs anti-racist meetings, it's definitely the university professors. Look at her. Look at her. You know, it even has the pronouns next to her. And students do not seem to appreciate that she fell asleep during the gospel of Robin DiAngelo. Now, to her defense, she claims that she was not asleep, as it was implied at any point during the meeting. She said that the photo used was taken without permission. How can you take permission of someone's photo and then use it to get that person fired? It's like, how would it work? It's like, hey lady, Patricia, Simona, can I take your photo so I can show to people that you have fallen asleep? How would the permission be? This is interesting, but anyway. She was looking down briefly, resting her zoom-weary eyes with her head tilted back, which she must do in order to see her computer screen through bitrifcal progressive lenses. She listened with her ears and heart. Apparently the heart can listen. Now, I thought the heart is useful for pumping blood and giving people's erections, but no, apparently when Robin DiAngelo is speaking, the heart opens its ventricles and listens and sips it in. I say we get her fired though. Just in case. Just in case. What is, can we be 100% sure that she's telling the truth? Maybe she is. I'm willing to believe her. But it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to allow a racist to run amok at the university. As such, I strongly suggest that she gets fired and gets replaced with a proper, decent black woman. And since we are on the subject of women's issue, we see that the United Kingdom's biggest cervical cancer charity shuts down disgustingly. It makes you vomit. Transphobic lie that only females get cervical cancer. I am so glad that it is up to a charity to separate lies from the truth, because we do not want to live in a society with lies. No more lies. Now, I also don't want to live in a world where I cannot get a cervical cancer test kit. My cervical, which I don't have as a man, needs to be tested, goddammit. And you know what? I was for a little bit skeptical about it. I was like, are you sure men can't get cervical cancer? Is this? But then Twitter, Jack Dorsey himself descended from the heavens and convinced me. Look here, the violator by the name of Glasshammer has been banned for being a hateful person. Why is your heart full of hate, Glasshammer? It needs to be pumped full of love. Full of Robin DiAngelo's wisdom. That's how you need to live in a civilized society. If not, you can starve in a ditch. So what did he do? Well, apparently he tweeted that only females get cervical cancer, and I was like, God damn it. If the UK's biggest charity is saying that it's also men that can get cervical cancer, and now Jack Dorsey himself, now it's Twitter, saying the same thing, they're in union. They united together and saying the exact same thing. Who am I? A little man, a little peasant, to be able to compete with these multi-million-dollar corporations that give us wisdom. I would not dream of challenging my betters. The prestige members of society that sets morality before us. So if they say that men can get cervical cancer, I strongly suggest that Jack Dorsey also get himself verified, because I would hate for him to suffer from cervical cancer and be unable to provide me morality in the future. Can you imagine a world without Jack Dorsey? Like, no, seriously. It would be chaos. It would be anarchy. We need Jack Dorsey to tell us right from wrong. I mean, look at this picture, huh? Isn't it biblical in nature? Isn't he the new Messiah? The Messiah of technology, from where all morality is going to flow. Now, while you guys know that Twitter is a little bit busy spreading morality to the world, educating their masses, being like our mommy and daddy, they have been taken away from less important jobs, such as providing security and safety to the actual people using Twitter. You know, like making sure that, heaven forbid, Twitter doesn't get hacked, and then politicians and other people's DMs don't fall into the wrong hands. You know, like nonsense like that. Well, turns out that Twitter is aware of a security incident impacting the accounts of Twitter. We are investigating and taking steps to fix it. We will update everyone shortly. And literally minutes after, I am giving back to my community due to COVID. All Bitcoin sent to my address. But you know, like it's not like it's Twitter's job in order to protect the website. I mean, that's secondary nature. The primordial thing for Twitter is to tell the masses about morality, to judge who is hateful and who isn't, to separate the wheat from the chaff. I mean, you know what? I think the church should take place of Twitter support, like handle the engineering part of the website, while Twitter can then focus more on providing morality for the masses, right? By the way, speaking of the church, I found this really interesting article. I don't know if it's from this week or not, but like I read it and I don't know if I want to be that guy or not. Like whether should I be jealous or glad it's not me. Like this is an interesting conundrum, you see. There is this mountain in Greece called the Mountain of Athos. And it's a renowned monastery atop the mountain where no women are allowed. So apparently there was a monk there which died at the age of 82 years, and he never ever seen a woman in his entire life. Apparently he also never saw an automobile, a movie, or an airplane. His mother died when he was born, and the monks of Athos took him in the monastery where no woman ever enters. So he became a monk, and monks at the monastery gave a special burial ceremony because they believed he was the only man in the world never to have seen a woman. Now, I guess this makes him the king of MGTOWs, right? Like this is the most MGTOW of the MGTOWs. Like, some people called him the king of incels, but like that would be involuntary celibacy. Like, no, this guy was voluntary. Like he wanted this. He wanted this. So I say it's MGTOW, right? Like let me know if I'm right or not. Like tell me what you think, because this is some interesting conundrum we have here. Now, one of you chuckleheads gave me this interesting news, claiming that the Miss Swimsuit of the United Kingdom, age 23, had her title stripped because she posted on Facebook the horrible incantation of All Lives Matter. And if that wasn't enough to convince you that this is a person not worthy of having the title of Miss Swimsuit for 2019, her boyfriend is also a Trump supporter, and he had the audacity to criticize the holiest of holy, to criticize Black Lives Matter by saying that white privilege is a leftist lie.
How dare you?
So apparently he is also a Trump supporter. Now, I know some people are going to ask, well, what does this have to do with a swimsuit competition? Like, you go to the competition to show how your titties fills the swimsuit, right? Like, that's the point of the competition. The titties that fill the swimsuit the most beautiful, the most uchikushi, those are going to be the winner. Like, what does the ideology of the titties matter, right? Like, that's what you would ask. And I have the answer, right? I'm educating you right now. I'm educating you so you can check your thinking for the future. Here's the thing. Yes, it matters how beautiful, how chikushi the titties are, but if you're going to criticize Black Lives Matter, it causes an ugliness. Alright? It causes an ugliness of the soul. And as such, you are not the most beautiful. Now, you can say that and I would take it even further. I would say that the judges that allow her to have this prize should also be fired. Because for 3 years, she has held the title. So for 3 years, she has spread hatred and ugliness to other people. So the judges should definitely be fired and replaced by decent and upstanding women of color. I swear, making this weekend stupid is actually very difficult, believe it or not. Like, realizing that I live in a world where judges are so inconsiderate and they're not careful to whom they hand the prize to. It's like, do they not realize the damage they do to the fabric of our society? How, like, just, what were they thinking? Giving a prize to a woman that in 3 years is going to criticize Black Lives Matter on Facebook. Are these people insane? Have they no decency? You know what? They should be arrested, like this 12-year-old kid got arrested. All cops are bastards except for these ones. These are good cops. Listen, okay? Here is wisdom. So the cops were alerted to a series of racist messages sent to a footballer today. And after looking into them, they started making checks and arrested the evil 12-year-old. Thanks to everyone who raised it, racismus will not be tolerated. Well, I can sleep safe at night now knowing that 12-year-old kids that have access to a keyboard in their own bedroom are not going to use their memes of evil upon the world. So the 12-year-old boy was arrested and is now under investigation. Racismus has no place in society. Now, you need to understand, some of you chuckleheads out there will think that, well, look, a footballer is a person that's a millionaire, right? Like, they make multi-million-dollar contracts. Obviously, they wouldn't care if a 12-year-old kid says something like that on the internet or whatever. Like, here's the deal. You don't understand. It's all about the power dynamics, okay? So, the kid is white. He's got all the power in this situation. Like, this 12-year-old kid has more power than a millionaire that's a football player. Alright? Like, if you don't understand, just read Robin DiAngelo's book. And she will explain it far better than I can. But, again, it's a good thing that this menace to society, this 12-year-old terrorist, has been taken away by the police. You know what? Like, I think kids shouldn't have access to Twitter to begin with. I mean, can you understand the damage they do every time they go to a keyboard and they do the clickety-clack? Like, it's like giving a gun to a child, really. That's what they're doing. So I definitely suggest that no children should be allowed to use Twitter. In fact, no one should use Twitter. Like, Twitter is propagating racismus. Every single person, like, any person can use a keyboard and post something racist, and there you go. You destroy, you crush someone's spirit. You know what? Like, I think the same way you need to have, like, various background checks before getting access to a gun, you should have various background checks before using Twitter. It's literally the same thing, right? Like, a gun shoots someone and can take a life. A keyboard can type something offensive and ruin a person's soul. So, I mean, that's what I stand. I think Twitter should be restricted only for the decent and upstanding members of society. We need to have like red flag laws for Twitter. You know, if you're not allowed to take a plane trip, you shouldn't be allowed on Twitter either. Now, I would want you all to make sure you sit down because I have some devastating news. This news is going to floor people. You will not believe it. Some of you may cry, but it is what it is. Like, it happened and I need to report it. You guys are probably aware of the sleeping giants, right? These are some leftist activists on Twitter that are making sure people can't watch Tucker Carlson. They go around and they do email campaigns to advertisers trying to get them to pull off from Fox News in order to protect you from the evil man on television. So they're a strong pillar of our society. They like without them, you would be exposed to Tucker Carlson. Like, do you want that? Do you want that? You can't control yourself. Like, let's be honest. You're a person that doesn't have the capacity to decide what you should and shouldn't watch. And here comes the sleeping giants that will do these decisions for you. They're thinking for you, so you don't have to. And it turns out that one of their leaders, Matt Rivets, admits of discriminating against a woman of color. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, no, not the sleeping giants. Anything but it turns out that the sleeping giants, yeah. I don't know, like, how am I going to get moral wisdom now? Who can I trust? Who can I trust when even the sleeping even like the highest places of bastions of progressivism hires people like Matt Rivets? You know what? Never mind. I know where I'm going to get morality and wisdom from. Look at this. All right, here is wisdom. Billionaire should be a slur, as it is fucking shameful thing to be. Shame on you for being a billionaire. Vast wealth is immoral, and capitalism is a cancer on society. Now, I don't know if she is aware that under socialism, the ruling class, like the inner party, also become billionaires, but this is neither here nor there, okay? Capitalism is a cancer on society. Horrible. Nobody should have things they want while anybody goes without things they need. Especially if what they want is to send a car into space. I think she's talking about Elon Musk, which is kind of funny. They're not really talking about people like Jeff Bezos or Jack Dorsey. They're talking about Elon Musk, who recently said that he is going to sell all of his houses and is going to live on rent in a small apartment because he believes money doesn't bring happiness and he wants to change his lifestyle. Hey, that's the person they're attacking. I find that to be very interesting. But anyway, you know, like, okay, so she believes capitalism is a cancer on society, and it's wrong, right? Now, surely she wouldn't have a business that can only be done in a capitalist state, right? Well, you're wrong, because not only does she have a Patreon, but she also sells pictures of her naked for $10. Name me a socialist country where this is permissible. Like any from any point of history where you can just have a Patreon and sell your shit. I love these people. This is where I'm getting morality from. So this is the moral news, okay? Act like them and talk like them. So on one hand, you benefit from capitalism, but then you do the correct talking points so you can appear virtuous even though you're not. This is how I want to live my life. This is where I'm getting morality from. Oh, God. I missed another cancellation, though. See, I rushed into This Week in Stupid, and I forgot about this. A museum curator resigns after he is accused of racism for saying he would still collect art from white men.
How dare you?
Irate employees of the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, Modern Cancer more like it, said the removal of Gary Garrels was non-negotiable. So I guess if you're a white guy and you wanna sell some art to this museum and like have some art in this museum, just change your gender, because you can now. Put a big bow in your hair, identify as a woman, sell your shit, and then you can come back as a man. Like, you can do it. It's interchangeable. If you disagree, you're a bigot. Okay, so get the cervical cancer test, and after that, go to the museum and sell this. And if they don't accept it, call them bigots. I don't understand, like, why do I need to come from Eastern Europe to give Americans practical solutions for practical problems? Like, there is no problem. Social justice provides, like, their ideology provides you the solution. Oh, they don't send to white men. Okay, identify as a white woman. Boom. Boom. It's like fashion. It's like putting different clothing. It's like, well, just live with the times. Stop being such a boomer and understand you live in 2020 where men can become women. How am I not ideologically consistent? Like, no, seriously, I would need someone to explain to me why that would be a wrong thing. Like, gender is a social construct, and therefore you can change the gender at any time you wish. So just change it to a woman, sell the painting, and then change it back to a man. Like, what's the problem? No, legitimately, no, like, this is not me trolling or anything. Like, if there's anyone that can explain to me why that would be a problem from an intersectional point of view, please contact me in DMs. I'm not joking. Like, it's not a joke. Like, legitimately, like, I want to hear the argument for this. Now, USA Today. Big brain journalism incoming, okay? Apparently, the Trump campaign shirts feature the imperial eagle, a Nazi symbol. This wasn't received very well by the internet. Like, even people from the left were pointing out that, the American eagle is a symbol of the United States, It's like, it's the symbol of freedom and stuff. So they're like, oh, no. Yeah, it might have been. Like, you're right, it might have been. But they also double down. It's like, yeah, America uses, but Hitler used it as well. Well, I mean, if Hitler used it as well, like, everything a racist touches becomes tainted. I'm so glad Hitler didn't use toilet paper, because then that might have been a problem. I'm so glad Hitler didn't like Disney, because then, like, the new Star Wars would be problematic. Oh, like, I need to now look into what Hitler did so I can use him as a moral compass and do the exact opposite. If he drove a car, I need to stay away from vehicles, right? I heard he liked dogs and he was a vegan. Well, now I'm a meat eater and I hate dogs. I love cats. No, but seriously though, like, how desperate are these journalists for clicks nowadays? Like, I know they give journalistic diplomas to people at universities, like they give candy to kids on Halloween. But like, it's just how many neurons do you need in order to form a synapse that says, okay, well, the eagle in the United States is a Nazi symbol? Like, the Romans used the eagle. Many countries have used the eagle. It's a thing because, like, they will look like, okay, which is the most majestic animal on Earth? And they would think, like, well, a bird because it can fly, which is the most tsuyoi bird out there, the strongest bird of the strong, the eagle. By the way, fun fact, first of all, Romania used to have an eagle that looked like it had Down syndrome or some shit. But America almost didn't have the eagle. Apparently, it had the turkey, because the turkey was one of the animals that grew there. And it's like they didn't grow anywhere else at the time, and they wanted to have a turkey. Like, imagine how lame that would be. Like, in World War II, like, you're going to war under the banner of the turkey. Like, wouldn't that have been just like the worst decision ever? It's like, oh no, you can't use the eagle because the Germans are using it. Let's use the turkey instead. By the way, look at this shit. For chimpanzees, gray hair isn't necessarily a sign of old age. How much money was paid for this study? Like, how much taxpayer dollars was wasted in order for humanity to gain this bit of lore, like this tiny piece of wisdom? I'm really curious. Like, here I am, making these demonetized videos with very few people throwing me super chats or donating to my subscribe star. Do you see? Do you see how I weaseled in like a snake? Like a snake, I have managed to advertise myself, and I used the study in order to do it. No, but in all honesty, like, I would have been more interested in anything else. Like, just tell me the average size of the chimpanzee cock, and that would have been a more interesting thing. It's like, oh yes, just because they have gray hair doesn't mean they're growing old. It's like, how is this important? Like, why? Why did you study this? Of all the things you could have studied, why this? What other studies can build up on your findings? But at least it's not the most hardest study that I have seen. This is not from this week, by the way, but I just found out about it, so I guess it counts. Couples should wear masks while having le fiki amid the pandemic, experts advise. Oh, well, if the experts advise, God, like, are these people for real? What are the names of the experts? Okay, so it's from Harvard University, which is right now the most expensive online streaming service, right? Like, they decided, no, you can't attend the university anymore, but you can watch it online, and no, they're not going to lower the tuition fees. Yes, from a medical perspective, yes, if two people wear masks as they're fucking, the chance of getting the virus is reduced. However, you got them morons and experts over there. Two people aren't just going to use a glory hole or a hole through the bed sheets in order to fuck, are they? Like, if you're going to travel to your missus, you're going to spend some time there, it's assumed, right? And you're going to probably use the bathroom after that, and you're going to hang around her place and shit. It's like, either you don't fuck at all if you legitimately want to, I don't know, lower the risk of getting sick, or the moment you're fucking, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter, because if she's got it, you're going to get infected. Not necessarily for her breathing in your face, but staying in the place where she lives, and touching the shit that she touches, and being in the bed that she sleeps in. Who are these experts, for the love of God? You know, like the expert of the experts, Mr. Ferguson, he got the thing and gave it to his missus. Why didn't he use a mask then while he did the fiki, huh? Was he an expert? It's like, no, because like normal people don't wear masks when they're having sex. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And by the way, Japan isn't safe from this mental retardation either. Because apparently, like, they're encouraging people in theme parks not to scream when they go into the roller coaster. Like, motherfucker, I do not scream out of enjoyment. Alright? Like, I literally fear for my life. I think that when that shit goes down, I'm going to go down with it. Like, I'm legitimately afraid that my life will be over. That I will not be able to collect super chats anymore. Do you understand this? Like, and they're like, no, you shouldn't scream. Well, I guess you should give people a stick so they can bite on. I mean, I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing. And by the way, well, what if I'm having sex with a mask? Can I scream then? Fuck me. Like, these people, it's almost like they don't know how to human anymore. You know, like, I get it. You ask people to wear a mask when they leave their houses. Okay, that's acceptable. Like, I can see that happening. But, like, when you're fucking, you're not going to wear some mask over your face now, are you? Like, imagine just proposing to your missus. It's like, hey, you know, like, can you put this muzzle on while we do it? You know, it's like, why? Because I don't want to get sick from you. It's like, how do you even have that conversation as a normal human being? Like, you know what, expert, you come in, you tell me how to have the conversation, and I'll tell my loved one. How about that? Don't scream while in roller coasters. Jesus fuck. Right. Speaking of Japan, you know, like, this cool game came out, Ghost of Tsushima, and a lot of social justice activists were whining that it's racist or whatnot. And it turns out that the Japanese critics, you know, the actual people living in Japan, they gave the game a perfect 10. And this caused a lot of ass hurt. for the people that wanted to speak on behalf of all of Japanese. And you have a couple of Asian American people being, claiming that the game is racist. And then people are like, nah, man, it's not racist. Look, like Japanese people are fine. So now they're like, I really love it when Asian Americans raise serious concerns on an issue, and white people go behind our backs to Asia to ask Asians in Asia what they think of instead of actually asking us. Yes, well, what a horrible thing. This person used to have the ring of power, and the Japanese just took it from him. You know, he had the ring of power. He was able to speak on behalf of all Asia. Even though no one elected him, no one appointed him, no one asked him to do so, he was like, oh, this is racist. And now the actual Asians living in Asia like took it away from him. It's like, look, I understand that everyone that's born in America is an American. So I don't care about your skin color. You're an American. If I care about whether or not something is racist towards Japan, I'm going to ask the Japanese. Like, I'm sorry, it's the way it is. And it's a hard truth. You're just going to have to deal with it. But me from Romania, when I'm going to get wisdom about if something is not racist or not towards Japan, I'm going to ask the Japanese. Because the Japanese are the avatar and you're going to have to deal with it. Okay, now I want you all to close your eyes. No, seriously, just close your eyes, okay? And I will tell you something that will make you go, what the fuck? Do you think I can do that? Do you think I can make you all go, what the fuck? I'm telling you, I can. Alright? If you doubted me, I'm disappointed. You know what? Donate $10 to me if I make you go, what the fuck? Alright, no. I'll stop you begging now. I'll stop you begging. But this is like something really interesting. So, someone vandalized a Nazi monument in Ontario, and the police are investigating this as a hate crime. So, I had many what the fucks reading this. Like, first of all, why is there a Nazi monument in Ontario? And secondly, how is it a hate crime for vandalizing? Don't get me wrong, like, it's still vandalism, like, I get that. But why is it a hate crime? Jesus. But I guess you get what you get. Like, you wanted these laws, and the laws apply equally, so I'm really curious. No, seriously, someone needs to tell me, why is there a monument commemorating those who served under Adolf Hitler in the 14th SS Division in Ontario? What? Are there people bringing flowers to this? Like, legit questions. I'm not taking the piss. I need to know. Tell me, baby girl, what I need to know. I know, I'll ask Robin D'Angelo. Surely she knows everything. Now, it would seem that the job market is in high demand right now for racists. The anti-racist, and again, my favorite woman in the universe, Robin D'Angelo, has done an excellent job at quenching racismus. And in this very difficult work environment, a black gentleman has to go out of his way in order to plant racist notes himself so that he can claim about being a victim. So the student made 3 notes that he placed on his car, claiming that all lives matter, which is the worst of them all. Then he also said, go back to where you came from, and I believe the N-word was the 3rd. And the police apparently caught him for faking these, and he's now upset that it made national news. It's like, why didn't you hire me, man? Like, if you pay me, I'll write all lives matter and put it on your car. Like, if you pay me and it's, consensual, it's like a mutual understanding, an agreement between 2 adults, I can even come into your bedroom and do it if you want. Like that, just pay me. Like, contact me on DMs. We're going to regulate some prices. We're going to work something out. And, you don't have to go through this. You don't. If the media catches me, then I'll assume responsibility. I mean, yes, I am the one who did it. But, this is what happens when you don't hire Eastern Europeans. What can I say? And by the way, this offer is only available for the United Kingdom. I will not do it in Indianapolis, because in Indianapolis, it seems people who say this get shot. Yeah, I know it got dark really fast, but apparently a mother of a 3-year-old got shot for saying that all lives matter. And the mainstream media is severely underreporting this. And even though YouTube doesn't like it when you talk about these things, I wouldn't be able to sleep well at night if I didn't mention that this has happened this week. I try to keep this segment funny and uplifting and whatnot, but this is a little bit screwed up. And what's even more screwed up is when you go on Twitter and you see people with the hammer and sickle in the bio and the black flag and the pronouns and all of that, saying that she got her comeuppings. It's like, well, why did she say it? You know, freedom of speech isn't freedom from consequences and all that. So that's really vile, man. Like, come on, that's very disgusting. Can't you just like, why can't these people just let it go? It's like, I get it. You know, it doesn't fit your agenda. Just ignore the news. Why do you have to comment on it and live your vile hatred there? Whatever. That is a GoFundMe for her family. And, yeah, I'm sorry for making this go really dark all of a sudden, but it did happen and I couldn't just not mention it. But, you know, like, it's not surprising, considering that in New York City's shootings are soaring to 358%. I would like to remind people that the United States was going through a time period where shootings were at an all-time low, violent crime was dropping, and right now, politicians aren't being held responsible for this. It's like all they have to do is to go out and talk about ending systemic systems of systemicisms, and that's fine. No one is holding them accountable. It's like, why is the shooting soaring by 358%? I mean, you got prominent members of the black community that's calling NYPD to bring back anti-crime unit. Hold the politicians accountable, man. Like, they're your representative. You go and you protest in front of the public. They're responsible. I mean, I don't need to come from Eastern Europe to tell you to sack up and do the thing that's with the common sense here. I mean, look what politicians are doing, right? Instead of talking about the important issues, all they do is pandering, like talk about shit and nonsense that will never happen. Like, for example, this mayor backs reparations that costs 6.2 quadrillion. That's like 151 million per descent. Like, let me tell you why this is stupid, okay, and why it would never happen. Because according to an astrophysicist who came up with a calculation for valuing planets, Earth is worth $5 quadrillion. All right, and he is saying that the reparation he is demanding is 6.2 quadrillion. Like, do you not see that these politicians are pandering to you? Like, what more evidence do you need? But yeah, you know, I'm not an American, so I guess what do I know? There are activists, though, that seem to have a different answer than the one I came up with. And this one is a little bit of a doozy because my Romanian brain couldn't grasp it. Like, I tried tackling with this, but every time I read it, Pepsi just came out of my nostrils because I was bursting out in laughter. So I suggest you don't drink anything while I read this to you, because, yeah. So a prominent activist was trying to tackle with the conundrum of the shootings rising up. Now, most people would say, well, you know, like, when you talk about defunding the cops and you create an environment where you demonize police officers and all that, yeah, I mean, the crime rate is going to rise. I mean, they're the people tackling the crime. But no, apparently something else is happening. Something that I don't think any of us considered. White nationalists are wearing black bodysuits and they're committing murders to raise the Chicago crime rate. Why are the shootings in Chicago primarily happening over the weekend? I don't believe it's us killing us alone. Not with the full silicone bodysuits that white men can purchase wear and easily be mistaken as a black man. The white nationalists will find a way. Oh my fucking god. Yeah. It's, Transformers, Nazis in disguise. No. Transformers, hatred in their eyes. And by the way, if you're thinking this madness is contained to the United States, no, it's happening here in Europe, especially in Germany. Deutschland, über alles. Apparently, that's not a Nazi song, believe it or not. Someone in Germany refused to subject themselves to the humiliating experience of stop and frisk. So he tried to run the police officer over. And there's a video, I can't show it because YouTube. What the fuck keeps messaging? Dude, I'm making this weekend stupid. Like, you could have messaged me all day long, literally all day long. Now it's 2:20 a.m. and now you feel like messaging me. Where was I? I'm not editing that out. Okay, so, again, Germany, right? Deutschland. A guy was stopped and frisked. He tried to run the cop over. And apparently, the police shot at the car as a warning. Yes, we do that in Europe. You know, the Americans are like, shoot to kill. In Europe, it's not like that. In Europe, you can shoot as a warning. But what if you hit someone else? They don't. They're really skilled at doing that. They don't hit anyone else. They control the bullet in the air. It's the silver magical bullet. So they shoot at the car. And the car, apparently, speeded into another civilian car and ran away. And police called the driver a quote-unquote wanker. Guess who the mainstream media was outraged at?